Hi, I'm Ellen Cruz, and I teach 7th grade math and science at Vita. The focus for today is on complex instruction, which is basically productive group work. Instead of giving students specific tasks to do, it gives students a different set of norms that they're in charge of enforcing. So each student gets a specific role, and their role is designed to help keep the group moving along. For each group role, I have a card that I pass out, and it lists not only what that role is, but it also provides sentence frames to help the students know how to speak productively in that role. When I started doing complex instruction, which was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I used group roles that I got from a book, adapted them slightly, and I continued with those. The purpose of the roles is very similar to what they are in sort of standard complex instruction. We've just changed the language and the titles of the role to fit with some of the special things that our school does. We have the role of problem definer, and they're in charge of making sure that things go smoothly in the group, that everybody stays on task. We have the role of ideation support. Their job is to make sure that everybody has the tools that they need to be successful. They also are allowed to spy on other groups. If their group runs out of ideas, they can go around the room and they can maybe check out what some other groups are doing. We have the role of empathy guide. And the empathy guide is there to make sure that everyone on the team is being listened to, that no one's being left out of the conversation, and that all ideas have a chance to be voiced. We have the role of prototype control. The prototype control is the communicator, and they're making sure that everyone agrees on how they're communicating their ideas and that everyone can explain how they communicate their ideas. One of the norms that I have to follow is that I don't help the students, at least very minimally. They have to all agree that there's a question that none of them can answer before they can raise their hand, and I'll only give them a small bit of information. And I call groups out on their behaviors that are productive and also their behaviors that are not productive. I was a little bit concerned in this group in the back in the beginning. I wrote a question mark because I was concerned that maybe not everybody was contributing, but I went back and saw that they were, because questioning can be contributing. And I'm hearing some good quotes from them. Sometimes you have to do a status intervention. A status intervention is when you see a student or group of students that aren't being included in the group discussion. I don't want to call that student out because I don't know why they're not involved. It could be that they don't feel that they have anything valuable to contribute, or it could be that their group doesn't feel they have anything valuable. So I call everybody with that group role aside, and I give them a small piece of information, something that the group needs to be successful.
And it might help your team out a lot if they looked for figure 0.
Then when the student returns to their group, they have something valuable to share, and it draws them into the conversation. When I'm calling on students to present, I really use the 5 practices for orchestrating mathematical instruction. And I used to just call students randomly or have students volunteer. Now what I do is I go around the room and I watch what different groups are doing, and I strategically order the groups to help build the conversation.
And then you just minus the dot for figure 3. And so figure 1, we have 7. And we got, for figure 2, we got 15.
I counted each bottom one and saw how much it added.
I saw that there was one group who had actually managed to come up with an algebraic rule to describe the pattern. So I saved that group for last, because if they had presented first, it might have shut down the rest of the discussion. The goal with the students is always on the process. How are they talking? How are they functioning as a team? And not so much on what their final answer is. To do a good participation quiz, you should have a pretty meaty problem, and it should be one that maybe not all students can solve. Over the year of doing complex instruction with students, I really do see their communication improve. I see their teamwork improving, their empathy towards each other improving. They become mathematical thinkers and mathematical speakers. And a lot of them have told me that it's helped them move on in other classes, that they've taken the skills that they've learned in math related to communication and they've applied it in other areas of their lives.